Hello everyone. Well, I'm really enjoying seeing all of the maths work that you're doing and getting your lovely comments. So, I've got another lesson for you, and today we are understanding how we can take a multiplication and split it up into two other multiplications. And you might say, well, why do I want to do that? Well, it's because that's really going to help us to do multiplications which are much bigger than the times tables that we know, because we can split a big multiplication up when it's difficult into two smaller ones or two easier ones. Being able to split multiplication up into different parts, just like part whole when we're learning to add and take away, is very useful, and we've got to think ahead in secondary school when we're learning algebra. This is going to be important. So let's have a look at this. Imagine here we've got 6 times 3, and we want to split up 6 times 3 equals 18 into two smaller multiplications. So we're not trying to work out 6 times 3 is 18. We've got to learn that on our times tables, and I hope we're all working on times tables at home. We know 6 times 3 is 18, but what I want to do is split it up. Just practice splitting them up. So what I've done here is I've split 6 times 3. I've written it. What does 6 times 3 mean? Well, altogether there are 6 groups of 3. I've drawn them here. 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4, 5, 6. Each time there's 3. 1, 2, 3. Another group of 3. Another group of 3. Another group of 3. Another group of 3. And another group of 3. But these groups of 3 have been split up already, because look, some of the groups of 3 are blue. So how many groups of 3 are blue? Well, it's 1, 2. 2 groups of 3 are blue. And how many are not blue? They're just white. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. The others, look, 2 groups of 3 are blue. 4 groups of 3 are not blue. 2 groups and 4 groups makes the whole 6 groups of 3, and we can draw it in a part-whole diagram like you learned to do in Year 1 and Year 2 and Year 3. Look, at the top we have the whole multiplication, 6 times 3. I've written 6 times 3, 6 groups of 3. This side, this is now one of the parts over around here. So in this part, we have written the multiplication. Now, how many of the groups of 3 are blue? Well, 2 groups of 3. 2 times 3 is blue. And on the other side, 4 groups of 3 are not. Look, we've really just taken this, 2 groups of 3, 4 groups of 3. We've written it here, 2 3s and 4 3s. So we split 6 times 3 into 2 times 3 and 4 times 3. We can write it down here in a kind of symbolic way. 6 times 3 is the same as 2 times 3, but I'm going to make sure that I put that 2 times 3 in brackets. The brackets keeps those together. Add how many lots of 3? Well, 4 times 3. And do you remember? I put them into brackets. And my answer is 18. If I want to check that, 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. 6 add 12 is 18. And it's all of it is the same as 6 times 3. Oh, see, that works. So let's have another look at this. Same thing again. Pause the video. You have a go at this one. Can you do this one? Pause it. You have a go. You think. What would I write in each part? Well, our calculation now is 7 times 2. It means 7 groups of 2. How many are the groups of blue? Well, still 2 groups of 2. Don't think 4. That's 4. It's 4 circles altogether. But we are counting the groups of 2. 2 groups of 2 are blue. And the others are not blue. Well, there's 7 altogether. 2 groups blue, 5. 2 and 5 make 7. 7 times 2. The multiplication for the blue part is 2 times 2. 2 groups of 2. On the other side, it's 5 groups of 2. So we've split the whole multiplication, 7 groups of 2, into 2 groups of 2 and 5 groups of 2. We can write it like this. 7 times 2 is the same as 2 times 2 in brackets. Add 5 times 2. We want to check it. 2 times 2 is 2. Add 5 times 2 is 10. 4 and 10 is 14. And that is 7 times 2. Now you might think to yourself, I don't want to have to draw it out all the time, and I don't have to. You could think of this as a bar model. Here's 8 times 3. Now we haven't drawn groups of 3. We've just said it's 8 threes. So this one would look like this. 8 times 3. The yellow part is 3 lots of 3. What about the white part? What's the white part? It's 5 lots of 3. We can write it. 8 times 3 is 3 lots of 3 and 5 lots of 3. 3 groups of 3, 5 groups of 3, 8 groups altogether, 8 groups of 3, and it's 24 altogether. Okay, now this is very, very useful when we get to bigger multiplications. And actually this is called the distributive property of multiplication. I know some of you are really interested, and we should all be very interested in words. This is the distributive property of multiplication. We use it a lot when the multiplication is bigger than the times table. Oh, I learnt my times tables when I was at school. I learnt my 4s. I didn't learn them up to 23 times 4, and the reason is I don't need to. I can split 23 groups of 4 up into easy ones. I'm going to partition the 23 into how many 10s and how many 1s. 23, I'm splitting that 23 into 20, can you see here? And 3. 20 groups of 4 and 3 groups of 4. If I write it in my part-whole model, 23 times 4, that's the whole multiplication. Now, it's not part of it is blue and part of it is not blue. What I'm really splitting it into is the 23, I'm splitting it into the 10s and the 1s. Well, this too means 20, doesn't it? 23. 20 lots of 4, that's quite easy. Remember, 2 times 4 is 8. So 20 times 4 is 80. And on this side, it's the 1s. Here, it's the 10s, 20, 23. And here, the 3 1s. 3 times 4 is 12. So, 23 times 4 is 80 plus 12. I know 80 plus 12. 23 times 4 gives 92. If I split the big number into the 10s and the ones, and remember that I'm counting in groups of the number, I will do very well. So let's look at one more like this, and then I'll show you what your work is. 36 times 5. Well, I know my 5 times table. And what I want to do is think to myself, okay, 36 times 5. Well, before I start working it out, I've got to understand. 36 times 5 means 36 groups of 5 altogether. I don't want to draw that, but I can think it. I'm going to break it up, remember, I'm going to break the 36 up into the 10s on this part and the 1s on this part. So 36 is 30 and 6. So I'm breaking my 36 into 30 and 6. But not just 30 and 6, it's 30 groups of 5 and 6 groups of 5. 30 groups of 5, 30 times 5 is 150. 3 times 5, 15. And we make it 10 times bigger. 6 times 5 is 30. Oh, 150 add 30. We can say, let's do a little bit of working out over here. We're going to work it out by saying it's 150 add 30. Well, that's 180. 36 times 5. Not too bad, I think. Can you see how when we've got a number much bigger than our times table, we can split it into the 10s, 36, 30 and 6, remembering that we're really counting groups of the other number. 30 times 5, add 6 times 5. So, let's have a go. I'll do one more for you here if you want to do it like the really quick way. Let's imagine that we wanted to do 42 times 6. 42 times 6, I'm splitting my 42 into 40 and 2, remember? I'm partitioning it into the 10s and the 1s. But still 40 times 6, 40, 2 times 6, because we're counting groups of 6, is 12. 240, add 12, 252. 42 times 6 is 252. Who thinks, yeah, I've got this? Well, I hope so. And remember, if it is tricky, you can always get in contact with me. So, for your work, you've got to do some that are like this. Oh, I can see there's a mistake there, so we'll change that on the sheets that you've got. And you can have a go. Let us know if there's a problem. We will enjoy seeing your work. Okay, bye-bye everyone. See you soon.